Howdy y'all, Chris here. Hey, I wanted to take you on a comprehensive tour of what's new in Wirecad 10. Now this is meant to be a video for those of you who are already familiar with Wirecad 9. We won't cover any of the basics. We're mostly just going to cover the differences. What's new here that's not in what you're used to. First and foremost, let's talk about speed in Wirecad 10. We've worked very hard over the last couple of years to increase the speed of the product. We've been working much closer to the iron with Wirecad 10 so that we can take advantage of some of the parallel processing and multi-core programming techniques that are available. As a result, some of our operations that used to require a fair amount of time are now fairly quick. For example, in this particular case here, I'll do a change, which seems simple enough. I just want to change the color of this signal type for the project. But in order for me to do that, I have to do a full ripple of all of the project drawings. I've got to go open all project drawings and adjust the layer structures so that the AES layers are now showing my new color. In Wirecad 9, this operation could take minutes. Here, I'll click Save. And just a quick look down here at the bottom of our grid shows that we've scanned and updated 19 drawings in 2.14 seconds. Now, this is the same for all of your full ripple functions across the application. We've also done a complete rework of the equipment library to make it a little easier to use. You can see now the equipment library presents all of the information about the selected device on its main page, with the exception of the inputs and outputs. The inputs and outputs can be found on their tab as they always have been, but we've also added the ability to change the pin type to a number of new pin types, as well as supporting grouping within the grids now. Let me switch over to something that I've applied grouping to. My trusty 360 system is Image Server 2000. Here on the I/O page, you can see I've added groups for audio control and video. And here on my display preview, you can see the items grouped out. I'll go to my Display Preferences tab, where I now have control over whether or not the groups are displayed. Looking a little closer at the grouping function, I'll go ahead and enlarge the display here. You can see we've got group markers that are displaying a line and the text, but this is something that's controllable as well under the Display Properties section here. I've got a group marker here that's a line with little winglets that are displayed, which would look like this. And we've also brought you auto width functions now, to where, based on the text size, we'll auto size the body. You have a bunch more new shapes that you can choose from. The old ones are still in there, and you can still do mappable terminals and user-defined shapes from files. We've expanded the appearance settings section so that they're a little easier to understand. You can choose from your last inserted appearance. You can save your own appearance settings. You can save a set of project-specific settings that determine display, and then use the Wirecad defaults. We also now support port markers. If you'd like to place some kind of port decoration on the input or output ports to better present or clarify your design, we've provided you with a bunch of different port marker displays. Those are controlled again under Display Preferences on whether or not you're going to display the input or output port markers. And here I've said go ahead and show the input markers that I've defined. I'll go ahead and enlarge the display so we can see what's going on here. There's my port marker. The rest of the library behaves as you're used to. You've got the ability to add the item to the drawing or to the Create a Sysname. The community library access is much faster now. Switching to the community view, here you'll be able to see all of the community manufacturers. Selecting a manufacturer will show all of the device definitions available or assigned to that manufacturer. And the results are paged. So here we can see we're seeing the top 10 records of 244 for the manufacturer 360 systems. Once you've found an item of interest, you'll need to download it to your library. Simply click the download button and be sure to map your signal types, the ones that you use, from the ones that the device creator used, especially if you're very picky about your signal types. Here, I've got an HDMI signal type that I'm fine with. So I'll go ahead and click OK. And now this device shows that it's successfully downloaded to my local library, and I can make use of it from there simply by switching back. There's one other feature that we've changed in the equipment library, and that's we've added the ability to support bidirectional signal types. Bidirectional signal types are those that we get confused on which side of the block we want them to display on. So what we've done in WireCAD 10 is we've added this flag to the inputs and outputs list, is bidirectional. This flag also appears in the new port adder dialog. So I'll just go ahead and create a quick couple of ports that are bidirectional, something like, for example, Ethernet. I'll say that it's bidirectional, and it's going to be a normal straight pin. Let me add several of these so that we can see the effect. And I'll just add those ports and close this dialog. As we can see, I've added 6 new Ethernet ports. I've added them on the input side and the output side. Now, depending on which side I select first, I'll be able to select that side, but not the other. So for example, if I come in and select these 6 ports on the input side, I will not be able to add those 6 Ethernet ports to the output side. That way somebody can't accidentally add a duplicate port to the other side. Okay, so that's a quick look at the equipment library. These next 2 improvements were made to clarify some of the operation within WireCAD. On the sysname assignment dialog, as well as a cable number assignment dialog, we've tried to clarify your intent as to what you're doing with it within the application. In WireCAD 9, there was a bit of guesswork that went on with regard to the sysname and how you behaved with the sysname input text box. Here, we've set it up so that you tell us specifically what it is that you're trying to do, whether you want a new number, whether you want to manually enter a number, or whether you want to select from an existing sysname to apply to that item. We've done the same thing on the cable number assignment dialog. As you can see here, we're trying to get your intent as to how you want to number this cable. All of the project and global database grids in WireCAD 10 now support the concept that they can be exported to Excel and then re-imported back into WireCAD. We refer to this as a round-trip export-import. So if you need to take the data out to some other function and then pull it back in, you can now do that. There are 2 methods that we support on the import. One is a blind import, where we're ignoring any existing data and we're inserting new data or appending new data to the grid. The other is the round trip. If we're going to round trip, we need to make sure that the global unique identifier field that's part of every database table within the WireCAD structure is also exported so that we have a reference to that row in the database. I'll demonstrate this now. I'll go ahead and export the locations grid, even though it's only got 2 records in it. I'll bring that out to Excel. I'll put it in the project folder, and I'll just call it locations. We'll open the file, and we'll make a quick little manipulation here. We'll save that file back to the disk. and we'll close this. Next, we'll import, and Wirecad tells us about the global unique identifier fields, in this case, the location GUID field, and that in order to do the round trip, we need that field present. So here we are. We have it present. We know it's ready to go. So I'll go ahead and click yes to round trip import. Then I'll find my Excel file and pull that back in. Once done, I'll get a status report about things that may or may not have gone wrong. Wirecad also supports a complete project ripple of our changes. So my Room 109.1, which changed to Room 109 ASDF blah de blah, can be rippled across the rest of the project drawing set. And again here, just showing the speed of this particular ripple. We've done a fair amount of work in just about 2 seconds. Wirecad now supports pointers on or off sheet that connect to multi-relational cables, and this can be done on either end of the pointer. The only gotcha here is that in order to place the pointer, you need to drag it onto the sheet and then disconnect it from the wire that it's normally attached to. Maybe even delete that wire so that you can now drag this and connect it to a multi-relational cable. These pointers can now be linked to other systems through other multi-relational cables. Wirecad now supports the ability to swap pointer sets out document-wide. If you find that you get into a document and something about the pointer that you've used offends your eye and you want to replace it document-wide, simply select the pointer that's on the source side of the cable and initiate the function, Advanced Tools, Swap all pointer sets. This will preload our outgoing pointer, and all we have to do now is select our incoming pointer set. Now bear in mind that this will change pointer sets on every drawing that is touched by linked pointers here, so this can take some time. I'll go ahead and click OK, and I won't make you wait for it. So here you can see we've replaced the pointer sets for everything that was linked up. The complementary tool to the swap pointers function is the swap terminals function, and it initiates the same way. Select a terminal that offends your eye, Advanced Tools, Swap all terminals. Here you'll select the outgoing terminal by the incoming terminal type. We've added a long requested feature in Wirecad 10. We've added a title block manager. Here, you select the title blocks that you're interested in. In this case, I'll add one by simply selecting it in the drawing. All of the available attributes are shown to me, and I'm given the ability to add or associate variables with each one of these attributes. So in this case, for my Title 1 attribute, I might come in here and select the project name. There it is, the project name. And for Title 2, I might do other things. There are two ways you can handle updates on this data. One is manually. By clicking the Update Active Drawing Now button, all of the variables associated with all of the attributes will be updated immediately. Here we can see I've updated my Edit Suite demo project. I can also set these so that they update when the drawing is opened. This is handy for dates or other kinds of fields where you want the date to track along with your current edits. We've made a subtle but important change to the new drawing wizard. After you select the template drawing and click Next, you'll now have the opportunity to enter the drawing name or names. Here, I'll just go ahead and create 2 drawings. And again, the model space boundaries you're already familiar with. And there's my newly minted drawing 1 and drawing 2. The split cables into pointers function allows you to replace existing cable, whether they're assigned or not, with linked pointer sets. The cable can be drawn in any direction. In this case, I've got 6 cables that are drawn from the normal direction, from output to input. I've swapped direction on 6 cables from input to output, and then I have a cable that's drawn on the output side only and a cable that's drawn on the input side only. The function can be found on the Draw Cables tool panel, and in order to initiate it, we first create a selection set of all of the cables that we would like to split. We'll be prompted to select the default pointer if we haven't already. And the best response that you're going to get out of this function is if you select a pointer set that has a full complement of pointers, the _S, the _D, and then the flipped _D and _S versions, as this one does. Clicking split cable then warns us what it's going to do, and again that it's best to have the full complement of pointers. And there you have it. Cables converted into pointers. And again, it doesn't matter whether they're assigned or not. The only requirement is that the cable be attached to connection points. This will not work on cables that just go nowhere, and it's not a good idea to, for example, run this function on a pointer. To replace a pointed cable with additional pointed cables would be kind of silly. And this final function that we're going to talk about is for those that use auxiliary text but forgot to check the box. And it simply goes through and reapplies the aux text to the cable so that you don't have to redraw the cable as you work through the process. So you simply just select the cables that you want to apply aux text to, and off we go. Okay, so that's a look at the major function changes between WireCAD 9 and WireCAD 10. Again, this was meant for people who have experience in WireCAD and understand some of the subtleties. If you're looking for tutorials on how WireCAD works and need something that's a little more basic, go look at the other tutorials first so that you can get up to speed before trying to come into WireCAD 10 and understand some of these concepts. Again, I thank you for your time and for your interest in our products. Please keep sending in emails, giving us ideas, helping us make the product better. We do this for you. Thank you.